Welcome back. So I literally just sat down here to film like a short little check-in for a weekly vlog that I'm doing, and I ended up talking about my mental health for a good 15 minutes straight, and I think that it's gonna be its own video, so that's what this video is. So if it kind of seems like out of pocket, like I was doing something else, I was. This was not meant to be its own video, but I just started going and it came. So yes, this is very rambly. This is not like any kind of structured video, but I do just want to, in some way, in which I'm not even sure in what way, but in some way, discuss mental health and the things that I'm learning and whatnot. So enjoy. I honestly barely got myself to the gym this morning. I'm having another mental health day, frankly. I'm undiagnosed of anything, but I highly, highly suspect that I have borderline personality disorder. And today my mindset has just kind of kicked my ass, and I don't know why. My brain does this really fun thing where I will either hyperfixate on one thought and go round and round it in this like extreme pace, or I will have so many thoughts happening at once that I can't even have a full thought before having another, and then there's all of these pieces of unfinished thoughts just scattered around my brain, and it makes day-to-day tasks feel very overwhelming. Like, I'm so lucky that I don't have anything important to do today that's actually difficult or important, because even just the thought of like having a shower and wash my hair and like put my laundry away and stuff is just like overwhelming me today. Like, that's why I barely got myself to the gym, because the thought of interacting with other human beings just, oh God, not today. Absolutely not. It's not happening. So before I digress too far, my point is that on days like today, I really lean very heavily on some of the like prefrontal cortex and mental health practices that I've been picking up over the last couple of years, which again, I mental prefrontal cortexes. So whenever I am feeling anxious, overwhelmed, all of these like negative, depressive feelings, that's my amygdala at work. I'm talking about different parts of our brain, right? So that's my amygdala at work. But when I'm feeling positive and motivated, and when I'm thinking in a problem-solving type of way, that's me using my prefrontal cortex. And so I've been learning a lot about like pathways and like why people do the things they do. Like, I have a lot of moments where I'm like, I don't know why I did that. Like, I just do it. And I hear other people say that too. It's like, I don't know why I am this way. I just am. Well, I'm getting the idea that it's because of the pathways that we practice and we develop and then practice in our brains, right? So at some point in my life, this very like negative, overwhelmed, hopeless, give up pathway developed, and I went along with it. I practiced that over and over. Whenever something bad happens, it is now my natural instinct, right, to become negative, only because I have practiced that. Because whenever anything goes wrong, I immediately go to it's hopeless. I have to now create, which I think has been done, but now practice these positive pathways that I'm trying to strengthen in my brain, so that over time they'll become my natural instinct, right? Like, they'll become my natural reaction. So right now I'm like in this phase of like, when I get in this type of thinking, I have to catch myself and force myself to stop going down that negative pathway that comes so easily, and force myself down this one. And something that's really helped me is, like I said, just problem-solving exercises. So that can be doing math problems, or playing word games. I love Scrabble, Sprint, and Scrabble. Or just find a project or something. Roller skating can be really prefrontal for me, because it's problem-solving. It's working through how to do whatever, trick I'm trying to learn or whatever. And then I get that satisfaction of having learned it at the end. So I'm going to just really, really focus today on doing the things that will force me down those positive pathways, right? Mantras are very big for me in moments like this. It's like, because I so naturally go down the negative path, when something happens, I immediately go down that route. And once I'm down that a little bit, it's hard to even forcefully make myself think of something positive, right? Like, sometimes I'm just not able to think of something out of my own head that is positive in that moment. And that's where the mantras come in. If I can't think of anything positive to say or think, then I will just sort of fake it till I make it, if you will, and say these positive mantras that I've lined up. I've kind of curated a list that are specific to me and helpful to me, and I found some of them online and created some of them while I was feeling, mentally well and whatnot. And so I have this, these lists of mantras, and they're just things that are specific to me. So like I said, I battle, feeling hopeless or, dealing with sadness about weight loss or things like that. And so I've created topic mantras about my specific topics, right? So I'm not going to share my mantras. Some of them are incredibly personal, and they wouldn't really help you anyways, because I started compiling mine by just starting with all of the lists of positive affirmations and mantras that are online, and then I just slowly curated it to myself. So that is what I'm going to start with today, because I was doing some of my mantras for maybe 10 minutes or something, and some positive thoughts occurred to me that I wanted to share with you guys. I'm honestly really happy and really proud of myself that I am now far enough along in my mental health recovery that I can catch a spiral before it happens. And I actually know exactly what I need to do to stop it from happening. It wasn't always like that. I kind of wish that I had been on YouTube when I was at my worst, because I literally can't even describe it to you in a way that you could understand. But there was a time where, like I said, I am undiagnosed with borderline personality disorder, but for me, I very, very strongly think that I have it. And so for me, gaining an understanding of what borderline personality was gave me some sort of footing to stand on. How can you fight an unknown enemy, So knowing what my enemy in this example was incredibly, incredibly helpful. But even that wasn't enough on its own. I had to do a lot of research and try to figure out why my brain does what it does and what I could possibly do to alleviate some of the negative effects of what it does, right? And that wasn't easy. The information, especially with mental health in general, but especially with borderline, is very lacking. It's all over the place, and frankly, a lot of it is just learning to cope. And I'm just I'm not willing to learn how to cope. I need to get to a place where I am cured. And my version of cured from borderline is not, I don't have it, right? But it's just in a way that I control it, it doesn't control me. And I guess that is technically coping, but I don't know. Coping gives me the connotation that it's controlling you and you're just dealing with it. Whereas I'm not going to just deal with it controlling me. I need to learn how to control it. And so I've been doing a lot of, like I said, information about brain, neural pathways and why our brains do what we do and how we can kind of start to change that if we want to. And once I started to kind of come to a lot of these understandings about behaviors and habits and pathways and all that, it was an even harder task to start to apply what I had learned, right? Especially when you're reacting to an emotional scenario, which, a lot of us just kind of put our bias and our emotion into things, and we don't even realize it. I especially didn't realize how much I allowed my emotions to play into decisions or things like that. And so now that I am aware all of that, circling all the way back to my original point, was that I'm just really grateful that I'm aware of all of this and can put that into play, because yes, it's difficult to start to use these tools that I'm finding. It's definite. I'm seeing the benefits of it already, even though I don't always use them, and I don't always use them as well as I could have or should have. The times that I do use them and the times that I do use them perfectly well, I've seen the positive mindset and outlooks and, life occurrences that happen when I get there. And I'm honestly, my brain is starting to fizzle out on me. I swear, you guys, whenever I get too logical, my brain just fizzles out and stops working. Again, because that pathway's not fully developed. Like, I got to the end of my pathway on that, and now I'm like, there's no more trail. Where do I go? Right? But, yeah, I think, like, my point is the mantras have definitely set me on a good path, and I'm going to spend the rest of today, now that I'm on this positive path, lengthening the path, right? So let's go do... What? Oh my God. What is happening? Who am I? What the fuck? Okay. Before I discovered BPD and discovered that that is what fits me, the closest thing that I could come to was bipolar, because it straight up felt like two different people, two completely separate people fighting over who gets to control my brain, right? And I was just like kind of getting concerned, because it was like thoughts of, DID or like bipolar or schizophrenic or something like that. Because I got this idea that it was two different people, right? And now I'm coming to understand that it's just two different pathways. It's two different parts of my brain. And instead of having like a balance of, this part is more active at some points in the day and this part's more active at other parts in the day, I was so completely imbalanced that in any time when some amount of balance was trying to be introduced, it made me feel crazy. Like it was a completely other person. 'Cause I, as me, could not possibly suggest like solutions or positivity, right? So that felt like a whole different person to me. And I'm this video is it's devolving. It's very rambly, but I want to start talking about my mental health online. Because I feel like I've made a lot of progress in it, but it's a very convoluted topic. Some aspects of my mental health are very personal to me. And it's just, honestly, I'm not sure how to approach it, when, where to approach it. If I want to approach, like sometimes I don't want to approach it at all. But there is this like nagging thought within me that like this is something that needs to be talked about and shared. And I genuinely do feel like just the like information of neural pathways and how much effect they have on our behaviors. Like I'm learning a lot of things that I want to share, and I don't feel like I'm necessarily the best person to like be passing along all this information I share. And I'm definitely not passing it along in the most like productive of ways. But I just feel so strongly that it needs to be passed along that I like desperately want to try to do this. Like the amount of growth that I've seen to my mental health over the last 2 years is astronomical. And if I can share one thought or one activity that I do that helps me, and that can kind of set somebody upon their own journey to positivity and the pathways that they want, that would be amazing. I guess this has become, I'm gonna have to make this its own video. I literally have been talking for a while, like almost 15 minutes or something. So thank you for watching. If you have any perspective or just any thoughts that my rambling has, brought forth in you that you feel like sharing, leave those down in the comments below, please. Go ahead and give this video a thumbs up if you liked what you saw. I almost literally laughed at that statement. Who would like this video? This is a weird video. I'm putting it up anyways, so subscribe. See you in the next one. Bye.